decided to do this video today for all the loved ones out there that are caring for or have someone close to them that has Parkinson's. And I may say stuff that's not great, but I can only talk about from my perspective. Very early on in my diagnosis, I say our diagnosis because it is, my husband's affected and my children are affected and friends and family and the like. But very early on, it was all consuming. It was Parkinson's recovery, medication, meditation, resting, it was just constant. And I remember talking to some people, the husband had Parkinson's and the wife was his carer, and they had a rule that they didn't talk about Parkinson's after 10 o'clock in the morning. And so my husband and I tried to do that early on. It just didn't work for us, and I think a lot of stuff happens and a lot of stuff you want to share. But I got to the point where I went, I don't want to burden anybody with my problems anymore. That's where I was at. And if I'm truthful, there was a whole lot of guilt that I was feeling. My husband's at work, all day, like working really, really hard to provide for our family. I'm sleeping or having a spa or meditating or walking or doing whatever I can to manage my illness. And sometimes he'd come home from work and he'd go, "Lisa, what have you done today?" And I'm like, because there's a lot I can't do anymore. And I feel guilty that I wasn't as active as I used to be. And if I'm being honest, I felt like the woman he fell in love with just isn't that woman anymore. So what I started doing was not sharing everything. When my husband is away with work, and I might have, a really bad night or a really bad day or something, a lot of times, and I still do it, which I know is not great, but a lot of times I didn't share what was going on. And it's because I didn't want to burden him. I didn't want to burden other people with what's going on. But it's really bloody tough for people that are supporting loved ones with Parkinson's, because they want to know. They want to love you and cuddle you and make sure you're okay. They want to know what's going on. And yet I want them to know what's going on, but I also don't want to be seen, in a different light. Can you see how difficult that is? I'm not sure if everyone's like it. Certainly for us, a couple of years in with the Parkinson's diagnosis, it doesn't consume our world anymore, which is really positive. So, if I rewind my time, I probably would go, right, from 10 a.m. we don't talk about Parkinson's, because it can take over your life. But if you're caring for someone with Parkinson's, I want you to know, from my point of view, they love you, they adore you, they don't want to burden you with their problems. They want to share, but they don't want you to look at them in a different light. It's really, really tough. So just something for you to think about today. Make sure you've got open lines of communication. Make sure you're sharing what you need to share when the time is right for you. I think that's really important. But I know with my family, we've become a stronger unit. And I have my family in my corner, and that makes me feel wonderful. I'd be lost without them. I'd be lost without the people that I help and the people that reach out to me and ask me to help them by answering any questions. So there you go. I hope I didn't say anything wrong. I can only talk about from my perspective, but it's something real that we've had to go through.